In this video, I show you around my favorite place in the whole world so far. It is Caye Caulker, an island off the coast of Belize, which is part of the Caribbean and the second biggest barrier reef in the world. We will explore the island itself, and I am sharing the 3 best activities on and around the island. Let's start with how I got here. From San Ignacio, it was only a short shuttle or bus ride to Belize City. Here we validated our pre-booked ferry ticket and managed to get on the one that was just leaving. It was only a short and smooth ferry ride to make it to the island. There was a lot of sargassum seaweed washing up, but I was so happy to be here. I checked into the Tropical Oasis hostel, which was basic but had all I needed, except for a locker that a laptop could fit in. The first thing I needed to do as soon as I arrived here was go to one of the road stand barbecues to get some jerk chicken. This is a Caribbean island with a very Rasta culture. The food was amazing. On my way to the split, I ran into my friend Katarina, a lucky coincidence. I tried the Lazy Lizard cocktail at the bar with the same name, located at the northern end of the island. This is where the canal is between the northern island of Caye Caulker and the southern one, which is where most people stay. We went for a swim, and in the evening, a local working at the hostel accompanied me to the Iguana Reef Inn. This is the place to be to watch the sunset on the island and to witness the giant stingray. I am not a fan of wild animals being fed, but that's what happens here every day between 4 and 5 p.m. Anyone can come here for free and see all the wildlife just off the shore. My favorites are definitely the seahorses alongside the pier. We saw giant crabs, beautiful fish, and even a moray eel. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. We didn't stick around for the sunset as a storm was coming, so I spent the evening at the hostel socializing. The next morning, I had coffee at Ice and Beans and joined Katarina in the Garden of Bellas to do some journaling. We had lunch next door at Chef Juan's kitchen, which was really delicious, and then we had a chilled afternoon at Sip and Dip. My friend and I are taking the day slow, go slow as they say here on the island, and we have come to Sip and Dip to just sit in the ocean and enjoy Coca-Cola. And we can see so many fishes here. Definitely shuffle your feet when you're here because there are little stingrays around and you don't want to be stepping on any of them. But yeah, this is a day well spent if you ask me. We also saw some starfish, but please don't pick them up when you see them. Katarina hadn't been to Iguana Reef the previous day, so I had to take her there to show her all its glory. We must have spent 3 hours here chatting, waiting for the sun to set, as we people watched and were entertained by the pelicans. Eventually, we ended up at karaoke night, but we're in bed by 10. Good morning, guys. It is 5:15 a.m. The sun is rising on that side of the island, and today is a really big day. Today, I am going for 3 dives in and around the Great Blue Hole in Belize. This is an iconic place that you've surely seen pictures of, but also just the whole science behind the Great Blue Hole, the animals that we might potentially be seeing. They say that the reefs around it are even more worth the dives. I'm spending a lot of money on this, $340 US. So my hopes are quite high, but I also don't want to expect too much because I don't want to be disappointed. I don't have a clue what I'm expecting really, but it looks like first we can catch the sunrise. They are expecting me at 5:30 a.m. for breakfast at the office. I went by yesterday to get my equipment fitted and do the payments. We will spend quite a lot of time on the boat just to get there. So I hope I don't get seasick, but I think it should be fine. I'm just gonna grab a seat here and watch the sunrise for a second. sunrise was absolutely gorgeous, even better than the sunsets because there are no clouds on the horizon, which is amazing. That's a great start of the day. I decided to go diving with Frenchies. There are a few dive shops that are offering these dives, but Frenchies is by far the most popular. I also got recommended it by one of the instructors on Utila, where I did my advanced open water certificate. Let's see if it's worth the hype. I do really hope so. My friend Lucas arrived at the same time I did, and we devoured this amazing breakfast. But I tried not to have too much in case I got seasick. Once everyone arrived, we got on board, checked if all our gear was there, and after a short briefing about the day, we set sail for over 2 hours to reach the iconic Great Blue Hole. As we finally geared up, we could not contain our excitement. I'm so glad I had Lucas with me, so I didn't have to do a happy dance on my own and look ridiculous. As soon as our advanced group was in the water, we descended straight to 40 meters inside of the Blue Hole. And that's where the magic started. Back in the day, the Blue Hole used to be full of sharks, and we got lucky seeing 3. After a swim through the giant stalactites, we ascended slowly and had a really short swim along the rim. Since this was a deep dive, it only lasted 26 minutes. The first dive is done. It was epic seeing the stalactites and the sharks. It was just simply amazing. And now we are off for 2 more dives. And I'm really excited. Maybe we'll see some turtles, some rays, some eels. Let's go. As we set sail to the Lighthouse Reef, a snack box came out and all I got was a picture of it because I hoped it would make a return after every dive, but unfortunately it didn't. Then they got the equipment ready for the second dive. We got our briefing and in we went. Little did I know this would be the best dive ever. After seeing 2 turtles and countless reef sharks and stingrays and even a giant eagle ray, we made our way to Half Moon Caye, where we had lunch on the island. This island reminded me a lot of Cayo Zapatilla in Bocas del Toro in Panama. We got a cold beverage and refueled with an amazing lunch. Oh, pasta as well. Oh, damn. I will never get sick of rice and beans, but the pasta was a nice addition. We had some time after lunch to explore the island. There was a walking path that takes you to see buoys. Not the boobies you immediately think of, but the red-footed booby living in the treetops of this island. The best place to see the colony is from the watchtower. We have had a delicious lunch, some rice and beans and chicken of course, and now we are walking along the island to see some birds, some boobies, and just walk to all the way to the end and back. And currently Lucas is climbing a palm tree. Not 1 minute late. Our photo shoot made us late, but we arrived just in time to catch our boat to our final dive site of the day. Well, cheers! We cheers to an unforgettable day with some rum punch, of course, what else? And after the 2-hour-long return journey, I had a shower and we went straight to Iguana Reef. We got here just in time to watch the sunset. We stayed until the stars came out and had dinner at Swings. The next day was Katarina's birthday. We went on the most popular excursion from the island, a full-day snorkel tour, including the Hol Chan Marine Reserve. There are 2 options and I tested both to show you the difference or just to convince you you shouldn't pick one or the other, but do both. Option number 1 is the speedboat tour. This tour I went on with the Bellas hostel and they do feed the animals. Like I said, I'm not a fan of that, but the others joined in to feed the tarpons. In the ATM caves and they told me about these caves, so that's the entrance. We also saw one of the entrances to the cave system underneath the island right here. Poor Katarina was the only one in the boat who didn't seem to know what was going to happen here. We then left behind the main island, passing through the split and seeing the lazy lizard from another perspective. The first thing we did was look for the manatee, but since we couldn't spot it, we went for our first and my favorite snorkel. We started at the Coral Gardens and they did not steal their name. It is a long reef which is frequented by sharks and rays, which we both got to see. I swam off on my own, but the others were surrounded by friendly nurse sharks at one point. The next stop immediately after was the sunken barge, a shipwreck that is now covered with coral. It was cool to see the structure and the coral, but there weren't many fish around. However, this nurse shark did swim by. We got back on the boat and not long after we arrived at our lunch spot. They spotted the manatee from above the water, but one of the boats chased it away, unfortunately. Oh, wait, now I see it.
Yeah, it was huge.
Oh my god.
You can see like a silver gray egg shape.
This lunch was amazing. I loved the chicken with rice and beans. I was so full that I needed some time to chill afterwards, but most of the others went snorkeling at the Shell Bank, which they really liked. The next stop is the one with the big name, the Hol Chan Marine Reserve. We got our entries and as soon as I got in the water, I followed these big fish and they led me straight to this turtle. This was such a beautiful encounter. We did see lots of cool fish and huge schools of fish as well, but other than that, I kind of had higher expectations of the place because it has such a big name. We did end up seeing an eagle ray before getting back to the boat. The final snorkel spot of the day was the famous Shark and Ray Alley. Here they lure the sharks to the boat by feeding them. Other operators don't feed them, but they are here regardless. This time I felt like as soon as I got in the water, once they stopped feeding, there were almost no sharks left to be seen. Since the big fish also want to snack, it gets harder to see the sharks through all the fish once you're in the water. Anyway, I decided to have a look around and loved all these fishies. Everyone got out of the water, and as I wanted to film the last shark, a giant eagle ray passed by. And it was so beautiful, so majestic. I couldn't believe that I was the only one experiencing this moment. This was the best possible ending of the day. However, Dylan and Rudy had another stop in mind. We stopped on the northern part of Caye Caulker to see another inhabitant, a crocodile. It took a while before it appeared, but once we saw it, we went back to the hostel where we all had some rum punch together. In the evening, obviously, we had to celebrate Katarina's birthday, so we took advantage of the happy hour and I fixed us some free shots before ending up at Sports Bar, the place to be. Before we knew it, it was the next day and we were saying goodbye to each other at Namaste Cafe. On my final day on the island, I decided to go on the raga sailing tour. They don't feed any animals, so we just walked to the tarpon dock for some info before boarding our sailboat. I decided to do the full day tour again because from what I heard, the sailing experience was even better than the motorboats. And the stops were completely different. We saw boats gather in the distance and we started off with a bang. If I'm honest, this was the main reason I did the tour again. I somehow felt that we would see the manatee, and we did. Swimming alongside this gentle giant was a dream come true. So we had only just started, but already my day was made. To top it off, I spotted some dolphins in the trail of the boat, so after shouting to everyone, the boat turned around and we got to get a great look at them. Wow, unbelievable indeed. After that, it was time for our first official stop, the snorkel stop. I must admit, I wasn't very impressed by what we saw here. This spot did not match the coral gardens and the shipwreck we saw the day before. The sailboat only has 3 snorkel spots, this one, Hol Chan, and Shark Ray Alley. At the second and the third stop, I did have a better experience than the day before. At Hol Chan, we didn't see a turtle this time, but we had a great guide who pointed everything out and gave us information about each species. We spotted some sharks, a barracuda, this crazy Belizean, the same eagle ray as the day before, some more stingray, and a beautiful cowfish. Our lunch was no more than a sandwich before heading to Shark and Ray Alley.
There's the puppies. It's a big one.
That's Bruce.
Oh, hey Bruce. It's waving.
Raga sailing doesn't do any feeding like I said, but still the sharks come up to the boat. This time around, I lost count of how many sharks we saw, and the stingrays were also present. I saw another cool cowfish, and our guide demonstrated how kind the sharks really are, when in fact they are just sleeping for most of the day. Then, whilst filming this puppy, I didn't realize that 2 others were swimming underneath me, and they all but touched me, and I got to see the amazing dotted pattern on their skin. What an unreal, unforgettable encounter. I honestly didn't know where to look this time. Once we got back on the boat, they lifted the sails, gave us some rum punch to celebrate all we had seen, and as we sailed back, we all got pretty tipsy and enjoyed fresh shrimp ceviche. That's a tongue twister right there. We ended the day at Iguana Reef, where else, and we all had dinner together before I joined the hostel pub crawl. For my last night, I stayed at Bella's, and it was nice to have AC for once. The layout is pretty cool, but the shower I had was pretty awful. Then the day had come to leave the island. I made my way to the ferry dock, got a ticket, and waited to board as I took in the views one last time. Unfortunately, my time on the island has come to an end. It's very bittersweet. I do not want to leave the island, but I'm going to Mexico, which we all know is the love of my life. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see the Mexico videos. Obviously you want to. So I will see you in the next video. Bye!